target the elderly as their victims. With a friendly, pleasant demeanor, they approach their victim with a convincing story and make them believe that they're going to get something for nothing, or that a costly home repair can be done at a fraction of the cost. Unfortunately, the success rate of these criminals is very high, while the number of arrests and convictions is low. In an effort to better prepare you, the potential victim of traveling con artists, the Attorney General's office has made this film in hopes that you'll be better able to recognize a con game before it's too late. What you're about to see are reenactments of actual police cases.
Home repair frauds involve a variety of schemes. Driveway paving, termite inspection, house painting, and roof repair, just to name a few. But the technique is always the same. The con man makes the victim believe that he will provide a high-quality service for the home at a bargain price. With charm and a friendly disposition, he gains the victim's confidence and convinces him or her that the deal is just too good to pass up.
Ma'am, beautiful morning, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You know, this yard is just as lovely as my father said it would be.
Your father? Do I know him?
He's the one that put the roof on this house a few years back, don't you remember? Or perhaps your husband will.
I'm sorry, my husband passed away last year.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs.
Jones. Mrs. Arthur Jones?
Jones, that's right. I'm sorry. My father told me, but it momentarily slipped my mind. He said that I'd know the Joneses' house by how pretty and well-kept the yard is, and he said it was the best on the block, and I must certainly agree with him.
Your father? I'm afraid I don't remember him. Of course, Arthur took care of all the financial matters. Perhaps he had the roof put on just before he died.
Well, I'm sure he must have, ma'am, because my father said to be certain to say hello to Mr. Jones when I came by to check the roof. You see, that's why I'm here. The roof does carry a guarantee, and I just wanted to make sure it's holding up all right. Mind if I take a look? I've got my ladders in the truck.
Oh, how nice of you.
Terrific. Mrs. Jones, have you noticed any leaks in your bedroom?
Why, no, I haven't noticed any leaks.
No, from what I see on the roof, there should be one. Do you mind if I come in and take a look just to make sure?
Well, certainly. Please do.
You know, if a leak gets bad enough, it could sure cost you a lot of money down the road. Well, Mrs. Jones, it feels a little damp. I'm afraid you're getting some moisture in your sheetrock.
Oh, dear. What now?
Well, it's really no trouble. With your permission, I'll patch that small area of the roof, and then I'll spray the entire roof with a roof sealer we have. It's a special asbestos sealer that protects the roof from the weathering elements. It adds years of life to the roof, and we do guarantee it in writing.
Is it expensive?
No, ma'am. Like I said, my father's guarantee still stands, so labor is without charge. The sealer, however, is $75. It's a good thing we caught this when we did. It could be real costly for you.
Oh, well, by all means, then, go ahead.
The con man then goes to work, knowing that the unsuspecting victim is too trusting or physically unable to check his work. He spends a few minutes, sometimes even an hour or more, doing what the victim believes to be a top-quality job on the house. Little does she know that the material being applied is nothing more than a cheap mixture of materials that do nothing to help prevent leaks. Instead, the substance usually washes off with the next rain.
Well, that should do it for a good many years, Mrs. Jones. You won't have any more leaks for now, that's for sure.
Oh, that was $75, didn't you say?
Yes, ma'am. That was $75 per gallon. I used 17 gallons, and your price is $1,275.
What? Well, I didn't understand that.
No, Mrs. Jones, I made that clear.
Why, I can't pay that. I don't have that kind of money. All I have is my Social Security and my husband's small pension.
Well, Mrs. Jones, you did agree to have the work done, and I've already applied the sealer. I can't take it up now.
Well, I don't know. I think I better call my son.
Well, ma'am, you did make an agreement, a verbal contract. You do stand behind your word, don't you?
Well, yes, my word has always been good, but $1,200. I think I better go talk to my son.
Wait, Mrs. Jones. Look, I really don't want to involve the police in this. And if we end up going to court, you'll have to hire a lawyer, and you'll end up paying him more than $1,200, and then you'd still have to pay me. Doesn't it seem like the smart thing to do is just to write the check?
Well, I suppose.
I'll tell you what, Mrs. Jones, in the memory of your late husband, why don't you make the check out for $1,100 and we'll call it even?
Home repair con men almost always select senior citizens as their targets because they feel that the elderly are more likely to fall prey to their slick, well-rehearsed pitch. Unfortunately, they're usually right. Thousands of elderly victims are swindled out of their life savings each year. And although the impact is often devastating on the victims, many of whom survive on fixed incomes, home repair artists quickly dismiss the injury they cause as just a part of doing business. To avoid being swindled in a home repair scam, remember, never do business with someone who solicits door to door. Legitimate contractors don't operate that way. If you find that you've already been drawn into a home repair scam, stop. Call the police. Refuse to pay. These con men won't wait to give their side of the story to the police. They'll leave in a hurry if they know they've been reported. If you've already paid for a home repair job that you suspect was a swindle, report it to the police immediately. Don't feel foolish because you were tricked. Remember, these con artists are professional and they have been practicing their lines for years. And you're not the only one that's been tricked. There were thousands of others before you. The only way they can be stopped is if you report it. If you see someone conducting a suspicious-looking home repair job on a neighbor's house, call the police right away. You may save someone thousands of dollars. In the pigeon drop scam, the unsuspecting victim is approached by a stranger. The stranger may ask for directions or pay the victim a compliment. Soon, a second stranger, usually claiming to have just found a suspicious envelope or package, walks up. The two strangers are careful to give the impression that they don't know each other, that they are meeting for the first time. But in reality, they are working together in a carefully rehearsed plan to take the victim's money.
Could you tell me what time the mall opens?
Yes, it opens at
10
10 a.m.
o'clock? Okay. That's a neat-looking handbag you have. Where did you get it from?
Oh, thank you. I got that at Penny's.
Penny's? That's nice. It's lovely.
Excuse me, ladies. Do either one of you know where District 9 is?
District 9? I've never heard of it. Have you?
No.
Does it have an address on there?
No, all it has is District 9, rush important papers, hand deliver only.
Well, you sure can't go to the post office with an address like that on it. What's inside?
I don't know. It's sealed. Do you think I should open it up?
Sure, open it. That's the only way to tell who it belongs to.
Well, I picked it up over in the phone booth over there, and nobody was around, so I just took it. I'll open it if you guys will be my witnesses.
Sure, we'll be your witnesses, won't we, ma'am?
Sure. Look at this. The whole thing's filled with money.
Oh, let me see that. Oh, there is money in there. Look at that. And there's a note. I'll read what it says.
Now, the con artists have caught the victim's attention and sparked her curiosity. To make the victim feel more comfortable about sharing the find, they plant a note that indicates the money comes from an illegal source.
Brother, we done it again. Here is $35,000. Give Mabel $5,000 and put the rest in the Swiss account. I lied when I got the money from the gambling man, so we have to hide it for a while. I'll see you in Miami. Signed, Tyrone. Wow, this is illegal gambling money. What are we going to do with this?
Maybe we should find a policeman and give it to him.
Lord, no, don't give the police the money. They'll just keep it for themselves. Isn't that right, ma'am?
Well,
Well, I work for an attorney, Mr. Bernstein. I'll take it to him. Maybe he'll know what to do. Maybe it's counterfeit money or something. I think he's got a machine that'll tell whether it's counterfeit or if it's stolen. I'm going to go ask him. Why don't you guys wait here, and I'll be right back.
Okay. Wow, I'm so excited. I don't know what...
Now the suspects bring in an authority figure, the boss, to help convince the victim that the money can be split among them. While one suspect goes to consult with the alleged boss, the other suspect carefully and skillfully elicits the victim's financial status, thus making the determination as to whether to continue the scheme any further. If the victim shows promise, the suspect continues to play by telling the victim certain facts that will be used later in the game and excites the victim about the prospect of splitting the money.
I'm looking for a
I've got
job.
good news and bad news.
Forget the bad news. Tell us the good news.
The term good news or bad news is a code used by the suspects to determine whether to proceed. Good news means they have established that the victim has money. Bad news means discontinue playing. The victim doesn't have any money.
The good news is Mr. Bernstein says we can split up all that money.
Are you sure? You're not fooling with us, are you?
No, I'm not fooling. He said if we all split it up equally, it'll make it right.
Great. You know what that means. Floyd, this sure is our lucky day.
The one con artist explains that her boss said they could keep the money, but there is a slight catch.
You're right. Mr. Bernstein says we can't spend the money right away. He's going to make it look like an investment so the government won't take so much money from us. There's $35,000 in the envelope, so each of us can have $10,000. And he's going to keep the rest of it for his legal fees, if you don't mind.
I don't mind, do you?
No.
I'll get $10,000? Boy, this sure is my lucky day. Tell me, how do we get this investment money from your boss?
Well, Mr. Bernstein says that to make it look right, he's going to have to record serial numbers from our own money so we can put it on the contract. Then he's going to backdate it and sign it, and then he's going to give us our money back plus our share.
Tell you what, I was just telling Mildred here that I just got some money out of the bank on a personal matter, and I have over $20,000 here with me. So I'll let your boss take the numbers from my money, and we all can have our shares, and it'll be that easy.
That's great. Mr. Bernstein says that I could run it by y'all, and if you agree, I could send you over to his office, and you could give him the bills off your serial numbers off your bill.
Wow, where's his office? I'm going to right now. I can't wait. This sure is our lucky day.
At this point, the victim is under the impression that she will receive $10,000 for doing nothing but staying there.
Mr. Bernstein's office is right across the street in that office building. You just take the elevator to the 3rd floor. He's got the whole 3rd floor, and he's expecting us, so his secretary will know that you're there.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay, bye.
At this point, the suspect keeps the victim excited and does not give her time to think. The suspect also gives her several details about her boss that will be corroborated by the other suspect when she returns. This establishes credibility in the mind of the victim.
I've never met a nicer man. You didn't tell us you were a bonded messenger for him.
Well,
He sure thinks an awful lot of you.
Never mind about that. Did you get your share of the money?
No, but he said that we can have it shortly. There's a small problem.
A minor setback before the next step.
The money that I showed him to get the serial numbers off of just came from the bank, and a lot of the numbers are new and can't be used. We're going to need some more money to make up the difference. Mr. Bernstein said to ask Mildred if he can see some of your money to get the serial numbers off of, because all of Naomi's money is in the company's account that he keeps, and the numbers have been taken and recorded.
How much money do you have?
I have about $100.
Oh.
Nah, that won't be enough. Do you have any money in the bank?
Well, yes, of course.
Well, let me see your checkbook and see how much money you have.
I have my book, but I don't know.
Oh, come on. Let us use your money. All you have to do is show the money, and he takes the serial numbers off of them, and then he gives it right back. Please, don't let us down. I sure can use that lucky money.
Do you have your bank book with you?
Yes,
Well, let me see it. Wow, you have $28,000. I guess you do have some money.
Well, that's all I've been able to save all my life.
At this point, the victim still believes she will not lose sight of her money.
Mr. Bernstein said that all we need to do is show him the serial numbers for $7,000. Let's go get it. The sooner we're done, the faster we can have our shares.
What you need to do is go over there to your bank and get $7,000, but be sure they give it to you in cash and not a check. And if they give you a hard time, just tell them it's a family emergency and that you need the cash right away.
I don't know.
Oh, go ahead. We can use that $10,000 apiece.
Oh, all right.
Okay, we covered. Yeah, we got that money of $10,000.
Yeah.
I wonder where Mildred is. I sure hope she took
There
that.
she is.
Oh, I got it with no problem.
Great. Let's go get our shares. This sure is our lucky day.
Where do I go with this?
Mr. Bernstein said to let Naomi bring it back so as not to arouse the suspicion of the other employees.
That's a good idea. I'll be right back.
Bye-bye. Come on, Mildred. Let's sit right here. Boy, this sure is our lucky day.
Now comes the final act of the con. The victim's money is in the hands of the criminal, but she is blinded by the promise of big money. All she has to do is see Mr. Bernstein to collect her $10,000.
Mr. Bernstein says it's all taken care of. He's so excited.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Where's our share?
Well, he needs Mildred's signature on the contract. So, Mildred, why don't you go over there to that office building, and when you go up and see him, he's going to give you your money back and our shares, too. So just get out of the elevator and talk to his secretary, and she's expecting you. Okay, and we'll wait right here.
Be careful, Mildred. You have my money, too. We'll wait right here for you.
When the victim finds there is no Mr. Bernstein on the third floor, she may not know immediately that she's been the victim of a con. She may think she's made a mistake that her two new friends can help straighten out. There has been a mistake, but her friends won't be able to help because they're long gone, and so is the victim's money. This is the first in a series of phone calls to a prospective victim to establish if she is worth trying to con. All the information obtained in this phone call can be used in subsequent phone calls to let the victim think she is dealing with actual authorities.
Good morning.
Hello. Is this Mrs. Lottie Jones at 123 Elm Street?
Yes, well, I represent the Consumer Research and Marketing Organization, and I have some good news for you. I'm very pleased to inform you that you are going to receive a packet of free goods, free products that our consumer marketing and research industry tests on a regular basis with consumers in your area. Now, how does that sound to you?
Well, what are you selling?
Oh, we're not selling anything. We're not selling anything. This is not a sales pitch, and we don't want you to think that we're trying to coerce you or make you buy anything. This is merely a question and answer period here where we will find out certain information relative to our consumer studies and send you a nice gift for your participation.
What do you think of that?
Well, I suppose.
Well, first off, very good. Let's verify some information. You are Mrs. Lottie Jones, 123 Elm Street, here in St. Petersburg, Florida.
That's right.
The con man then asks the victim a series of questions that, on the surface, seem routine, but to the con man, the questions are crucial to the success of the scheme. Among other things, it gives him a feel for the victim's willingness to play along and whether it's safe for him to continue with this victim or if it's time to look for another.
And your phone number is 525-1413.
That's right.
And your zip code there?
My zip code number is 33702.
33702. Thank you. Now, one more thing that we need is your Social Security number.
Let me see, my Social Security number. It's 495-125690.
Very good. Now, if you'll answer a few more questions, we can arrange for a package of our products that are currently being used in households throughout the United States to be sent to you at absolutely no charge. Now, are there any infants in your home?
Oh, no, I just have grandchildren, but they don't even live here.
Well, that's very good. We asked that question so that we wouldn't send you some of our marketable baby products. I'm sure you could not use products of infant care. How many people do reside in your home?
I live alone.
I see. And what is your age, ma'am?
I'm 79.
Now, your average income. Would you describe your average income at $10,000 to $20,000, $20,000 to $30,000, $30,000 to $40,000? This is per year, or above $40,000.
It's between 10 and 20,000.
How long have you been in your present home?
41 years.
And do you have savings and checking accounts?
Yes, I have.
All right, they're with local banks here in the city of St. Petersburg?
That's right. That downtown First National.
I see. Now, one last question. When you buy items at the store, whether it be groceries or consumer items, you usually pay by cash, check, or credit card?
Oh, I pay cash.
Thank you very much. You've been most helpful in participating in our survey, and you should receive your free gift, a package of our products, within 3 weeks. Now, they'll come UPS, so look for the UPS man to come to your door. I remember this is all done free, no cost to you, and we're very happy that you participated.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you, and thank you for your participation.
After a few days, the same victim receives a second call from the suspect that actually begins the con game.
Mrs. Jones, this is Mr. Stevens of the State Banking Commission. We're conducting an inquiry into banking practices in our state because of some trouble that has occurred in other states recently. You may have heard of the problems in Nebraska, Ohio, and Maryland where depositors lost millions of dollars because of some thefts by banking executives who stole from the depositors' accounts. These states had to close their banks and restrict access to any account for several months.
Yes, I heard about it on television.
The governor does not want that to happen in this state and has commissioned a preliminary investigation to make sure that it doesn't. What I'd like to do, Mrs. Jones, is to verify everything is in order in your account. First, I'd like to verify that you are the right Lottie Jones. Do you live at 123 Elm Street?
Questions such as these lead the victim to believe she is actually dealing with a bank official. The caller is initially telling her information about herself.
That lets me know that you're the proper person. Would you please get your savings account book so that we can verify that account number?
I've got it right here. Just a minute. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Would you read that account number to me, please?
It says 768-9.
Now the caller is bending the situation around, eliciting information from the victim without her knowledge.
Now, would you read me the current balance?
It says $27,856.34.
Could you repeat that balance, please?
The caller is now putting an element of fear into the victim's mind, alluding to a possible theft.
Oh, Mrs. Jones, when was the last time you made any deposits or withdrawals?
See, the first of the month when I got my Social Security check.
Have you made any transactions in the last few weeks?
No, I haven't.
Mrs. Jones, I don't want to worry you, but I'm going to have to let Lieutenant Everett of the police department contact you. It seems as though there's a discrepancy in your account. Now, again, I don't want to worry you, Mrs. Jones, and in fact, all of your money is safe because it is protected by FDIC. I will have Lieutenant James Everett of the police department call you. Lieutenant Everett is part of this task force created by the governor to do this investigation. Lieutenant Everett will identify himself to you by telling you his badge number and identification number. If you will, Mrs. Jones, get a piece of paper and write this down so that when he calls, you will actually know who he is.
Okay, just a minute. I have it right here.
Good. His badge number is 685, and his identification number is 654987. Did you get that okay?
All right.
Okay, Mrs. Jones. Now, don't worry about anything, and Lieutenant Everett will be in touch shortly.
Good afternoon.
Hello, Mrs. Lottie Jones?
This is Mrs. Jones.
This is Lieutenant Everett of the St. Petersburg Police Department. Yes, Mr. Stevens of the State Banking Commission asked that I might call you concerning your bank account.
Yes, he did.
All right, Mr. Stevens told me to identify myself to you by my badge number, which is 685, and my employee identification number, which is 654987.
That's the number he gave me, yes, uh-huh.
Well, now that you're satisfied that I'm actually a member of the St. Petersburg Police Department,
I would like to explain to you a few things in a way that you might be able to help us out. Could we talk in confidence?
You sure can.
Well, Mrs. Jones, as you know, that the governor has instigated an investigation so that citizens in this state would not lose their money, as has happened in other states. And Mr. Stevens called you to verify the account number. It was not by accident. We've had information that someone has been tampering with your account.
Oh, my goodness.
Now the suspect has confirmed her worst suspicion, that she is indeed a victim of a theft.
34 cents in your account.
well, our records show a balance of $6,368 in your account. That's a definite shortage there, Mrs. Jones.
Oh, this is terrible.
Well, now, try not to get upset, Mrs. Jones. We've taken care of the discrepancy, and your account has been restored to its full value. In fact, we've opened up a brand new account in your name with the full amount, $27,856.34.
Well, I'm so confused.
What can I do?
I would like to ask you for your cooperation in this matter.
And I'm being very candid when I tell you that the discrepancy in your account is not an accounting error. Yes, we're investigating the theft of funds from accounts like yours from people who actually work in the bank. Our investigative work has shown the suspects
are doing this. They're embezzling thousands of dollars from accounts from people just like you. In these accounts that are not used very much. For instance, checking accounts. We've discovered the depositor, such as yourself, goes to the bank to make a legitimate withdrawal. The suspects actually transfer funds from another innocent person's account to the withdrawal so the passbook shows the correct figures. You, Mrs. Jones, have provided us with the opportunity that we need to act against these people. I've been involved in hundreds of investigations over the last few years, and very seldom does an opportunity like this come along. If you would help us, I'm sure we could catch this suspect in action. You will help, won't you?
Oh, I certainly will.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Jones. You don't know how important that is to us.
You can tell after talking to them for just a few minutes, whether or not they're going to cooperate and whether or not they really have a desire to help you. Now,
At this point, the victim is being manipulated to help by subtle coercion, whether she wants to or not.
Surveillance teams in this case, and you'll be observed from the second that you leave your home so that nothing unexpected can happen to you.
I'll do anything I can to help you.
If you will, Mrs. Jones, this is what we would like to have you do to help us. We'll send a taxi cab over to your home and take you right to the bank. And we'd like you to make a $10,000 cash withdrawal from your account. Now, as I told you, we have opened up a new account for you, and all of your money is in the new account. The money in the old account is, in fact, the bank's money, and that's the money we will use to catch the suspect. Now, nothing in the bank records will show that that account is anything other than your normal account. When you make the withdrawal, the suspect must transfer funds from someone else's account. And the original amount that you had in your account will have to be restored.
Now we know the suspect, to keep this balance current, will have to make a computer transfer.
And we can catch him in the act of making that transfer.
Oh, this sounds so confusing.
Well, I'm sure it does. But you have to remember, it's after you make the withdrawal that you will be met outside the bank by Detective Reese. He will identify himself with his badge and his ID card, which has a photograph on it. He will give you a receipt for the $10,000 and take the $10,000 as evidence. And the taxi will take you back home. Now, we'll be in touch with you tomorrow morning and bring you the receipt for your $10,000 and a deposit slip showing the $10,000 credited back to your account. Now, I want you to get ready because we're going to send the taxi cab right over to pick you up. What will you be wearing so that Detective Reese will be able to identify you outside the bank?
Well, let's see. I'll wear a white sweater and a white flowered scarf.
Thank you, Mrs. Jones. I'll tell Detective Reese to be looking for you.
At some point, the con man may ask the victim to leave the phone off the hook. The purpose of telling the victim to do this is to preclude any outside interference while the game is being played.
Remember, don't say anything about this to anyone, because the person at the bank that you're dealing with may in fact be the person in question. He may be the one that's stealing the money.
And we want to catch him red-handed.
No, I won't tell a soul, and I'll do everything I can to cooperate. I sure want to help you people.
All right. We'll send the taxi cab for you now. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Goodbye. Okay, the Mark's going to meet you outside the bank. She's going to have a scarf and a sweater. Should be easy to identify. She'll be looking for you. No problem. She's on the hook, and we got her good.
Lieutenant Everett sent me. I was to meet you and give you this receipt for the money. Is this the money?
This is the $10,000.
That's the $10,000. Okay, I thank you for your help. With this, we're sure to catch the bad teller. Lieutenant Everett said he'll be getting in contact with you tomorrow and to wait for your cab right over there.
Oh, I'm so glad I could help. I sure hope you catch those crooks.
Oh, we will. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
She doesn't realize it, but Mrs. Jones has just seen the last of these so-called police officers and her money.
As you can see, none of these thieves look or act like the stereotyped criminal we might expect. They don't use threats or violence to take the victim's money. Instead, they use a cunningness masked by a friendly and helpful disposition. Don't you be fooled. Remember the danger signs of the con games you have just seen. If you suspect that you are being conned by someone, stop where you are. Don't go any further. Tell the person you're not interested. then as soon as you can, call the police and report what happened. You may just save some unsuspecting citizen their life savings. Remember, no bank or police official would ever ask you to turn your money over to a stranger. No legitimate contractor goes door to door soliciting business. And no one without hidden motives will offer to share newfound money with someone they don't know. If you'll just remember these facts, your money will stay with you where it belongs, and we can put these heartless criminals in prison where they belong.